So, like, what's so good about living 10 years longer in a hospital bed and you could barely walk and you have pain and you're on these medications? That's not really a life. So, I think what people don't understand is that when you eat cleaner and your mind and body component, you work on yourself so that everything's more at ease in your life. You love everybody, you love yourself, you feel good about yourself. You're not trying to prove to others like who you are and look at me and all these things that we need to work on for the person, having good feelings towards the parents, having good relationships with their spouse, with their siblings, like all these things cause suffering. But if we could have good, like feel mind and body connection, and we put in good, we don't put in poisons. And when we need to clean out, let's clean out. Yes, you're going to be lighter and you're going to feel good. And I think, you know, what the thing is, when you're vibrating and you're feeling good, people think like, Edmond, you're like high. Are you on drugs? Like they've always told me for years. I'm like, no, I don't drink. Are you drinking? Like, no, I don't drink alcohol. Why don't you drink? It's poison. Why would I drink poison? You do drugs? No, I don't do drugs. So at the end of the day, like it's all a commitment and a sacrifice. So yes, I try to put clean foods in my body, but when you get to this higher levels, you could tune in and connect to what tests well for you. Same with water, same with supplements, same with foods. And everybody is different and it could shift at any moment, right? So I think that's the key thing, helping people go within a trust. In the beginning, I'll support them with guidance, but then eventually, hopefully, they could start connecting and trusting what's best for their body.
This podcast is for the soul who knows there is more, the one who's been carrying it all for far too long. If you're ready to let go of old stories, to stop replaying the past and start living from your truth, you're in the right place. This is your moment to release the noise and reconnect to what's real. Welcome to Baggage Begun, Healing Hearts and Minds. I'm Tami Mahmali. Hi everyone. Welcome back to Baggage Begun Healing Hearts and Minds. I'm Tami, and today I'm really excited to introduce you to our guest. Very special to me, Edmond Torbati is someone I've personally had the pleasure of working with, and I can honestly say that he is excellent at what he does. He's a spiritual guide. He calls himself coach, but he is much more than that. He helped people restore balance, feel good, heal deeply, and discover their true purpose, which is magical. For over 25 years, Edmond has guided thousands of people using powerful tools like channeling God, hypnosis, NLP, and holistic healing. What I love most about his work is how he brings together both the mind and body to create a real lasting change, transformation, whatever you call it, which is really special. I know you're going to find this conversation really magical, helpful, practical, and maybe even life changing. So let's dive in. Hi, Edmund. Welcome.
Tammy, love you. Thank you for having me. You're amazing. Love you.
It's such an honor to know you and have you here. So thank you for agreeing to do that with me.
The honor's mine. Thank you. Thank you.
You know, I always find fascinating how people arrive at their calling. For our listeners, can you share a bit about yourself and how did you even started on this path and what inspired you to do this beautiful work that you're doing?
Well, I think it started when I was 14 years old. I'm 49 now. And it started me going to my first Tony Robbins seminar. So I'm really lucky that I started young and I wanted it. I think that's the key. Like I was trying to search, but back then I was searching to be successful in the eyes of, what the Western world is, right? Make money, like, you got to go to a good college, you got to do this, you got to do that, and a lot of it at that time is more geared towards that. And then the journey led me to more deep work, but still something was wrong with me, and I was depressed at times. I was even diagnosed with bipolar, so I'm on two meds for that. Then I was diagnosed with an illness called Crohn's disease, which is a stomach issue. Similar things are like colitis, IBS, but this is pretty severe with Crohn's, where at one point, Tammy, I shared this with you briefly. We didn't go into too much detail, but at one point, I couldn't walk actually for a short period of time because I had so much inflammation in my body. And Crohn's, it just deals with the stomach area. And I was never really big on Western medicine. My mom happens to be a pharmacist, so it's kind of crazy how we choose our parents, and we could always get into that stuff. But how she happened to, like also be freaked out because I wasn't big on taking this anti-cancer drug. They graduated me with mercaptopurine, or they call it 6-MP. And before that, I was taking Asacol, which is an anti-inflammatory. So you're on a cocktail of all this stuff. They're like, hey, you're not motivated to run your business and leave your Beverly Hills apartment, go to Santa Monica office, run it with your employee. Let's give you Adderall. So you're on a cocktail of all this stuff, prednisone and steroids, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like right, these diagnoses, but you just don't know at the time. And I'm like, I don't get it. I eat organic. I try to be healthy. Like, what's going on? And so that journey led me to get to these areas, not only healed, been almost 12 years, off all medications and healthier than ever, happy, thank God. But it just led me to go deeper in the works to get connected with God and guidance to tap in, which I didn't used to have that ability. I had the aptitude. So that's what's exciting. Just all that, that's the level that took me to wake up. And sometimes we need a massive pain. We need a situation to wake us up. And that was my wake up call to go way to deeper levels. So sometimes you say, well, why did this happen? But actually, it was for the best, even though it might have not been easy.
I'm so touched by a story because it just shows that when you go through so much hardship, you are able to relate to other people and help them even more, because so often I see a lot of people carrying old stress, pain, or trauma for years without even realizing how heavy it is. From your perspective, after going all the things that you went through and you actually healed, you didn't add that, you didn't say what's happened. I'm sure you're going to share with us. How does holding on to all these feelings, like the emotional baggage, old patterns, you had your childhood story you just shared with us, how these holding into all of that can show up in your health? Because apparently you had all these physical ailments. Can you share with us?
Yeah, yeah. No, thanks for asking. So, for me, again, remember, everybody's situation is different. When we're working with someone, we have to channel God and ask them and their guides what's really going on for them. For me, it actually wasn't a diet related thing, but the diet, of course, helps. So, I tried a diet approach. This guy, Dr. David Klein, he wrote a book about healing Crohn's and colitis. And then he worked with this Dr. Zarina Zar, who happened to be a GI gastrointestinal doctor, and so I convinced my parents that we're going to go this route. It was a little bit nutty and crazy, but I was desperate. I was willing to do whatever it took. But what I did was that happened to do with like it was all about just vegan. It was all about like cleansing. You have too many toxins in your body. It was raw foods. It was juicing. And it was pretty intense. I mean, I lost a lot more weight than normal. I was at 137 pounds. I'm 195, 6'1". Like, it's pretty insane. So like literally a neighbor said you look like you came out of the concentration camp. So already I was going to the restroom like 10 to 12 times a day because of the Crohn's. So imagine that philosophy. So that philosophy failed, but it was all part of the journey. That's why I like to explain to people like there is no right or wrong. Sometimes you need to go and try things to figure out your path and figure out what is your calling, who's the right teachers for you. So that was still all part of the journey. But then I went back to Western medicine, hospitalized, all that. The difference was that I met this guy who gave a reading. I've never met anyone in my life. You always hear psychics and intuits. And this guy was saying that he heals people too, along with he helps. So he came from Australia and he gave a reading to everybody in a room. And I was like, this is insane. I was even with my girlfriend at the time, and everybody said he's right. And I've never seen such a thing in my life. I go up to him, I said, hey, why am I sick? They say I'm bipolar, I have Crohn's. He said, it's all connected. He said, just like me, you hold all your stress, all your emotions, all your traumas, everything is in your stomach. And he's like, the stomach is also another brain in itself. So it's all connected, right? So if you come and work with me and my team, not only will you be off all these medications, we're going to support you with guidance, how to get off of it and get healthy, but we're going to work on you. But you have the aptitude. He said, you have the aptitude to what I can do. So I was like, dude, sign me up. And so that's kind of what changed my life. And then you go deeper and deeper. You go to India and you go work with Tony Robbins guru, and you're always learning. But the bottom line is, what I learned from that work and a lot of other works is most diseases and illnesses are psychosomatic, the mind, stress, emotional stuff that we carry in different parts of our body. And sometimes even cancer could be karmic stuff. Sometimes we're holding on to past life stuff. So there's a lot of factors here. Yeah, but that was really what made it happen. And what you learn what disease is, and I think you know what it is, it's a dis-ease in the body. We've talked about that before. So you take the word disease, dis-ease. So I just needed more ease in my life. I needed to do that deeper work. And within a couple of months, I'm off all the medications. It's been almost 12 years. And then I got connected as well. That was the key thing. That's the key thing. That's why it's exciting for me to turn people on to activate and really get more connected to God and their guidance, because we all can improve upon it.
That's fascinating because it was basically somatic pain. Meanwhile, you're taking all these medications that are
Mhm.
not really helping you, from what I'm hearing. Because people feeling pain in their bodies, that doesn't always clear in medication, obviously, right? Now that we know it's the mind body connection, it's more emotional and it's probably stress related. And you said from generations ago, lifetimes ago. In your work, how do you approach this when someone comes to you and you sense that this is like somatic pain? And what tools do you use to guide people to release that kind of stored pain in their body, mind?
Mm. Well, we always have to just channel God, and we have to, in supporting people to be in a comfortable state, and they have to be open to it. So if they're not open, it's not the right candidate, you know? But if they're open to it, the transformation can happen quickly if we go right to the root. And the root could be as simple as they don't love themselves, they don't feel good enough about themselves, they could have some trauma stuff they need cleared, they could maybe hold on to hurts with mom, dad. Like mom stuff, it's a common pattern we find, which is crazy. And I think I've shared this with you, but with mom stuff, if we're holding on to stuff mom, generally, but we tapped in, but generally for the audience, is if we're holding on to stuff other than joy, love, and gratitude for your biological mom, it could lead to a lot of obstacles and illnesses. And actually, that happened to be one of my challenges too. That was about 10% of it. Because
So
I had stuff with my mom I was holding on to that was nonsense that even stemmed from the womb when I was literally in her womb. Like you could go real deep into this stuff, and you can get your own information. That's even more powerful. When you support people to go within and get their own information from God directly is way more powerful than just me giving them a message.
I know we talked about the mind and the body, and I know that it's something you talk about all the time and teach. Can you explain in simple terms why we need to bring the mind and body together, make alignments, and then the shift, the transformation, the healing, it's more powerful because it's actually from the root. Because a lot of people don't understand when you say it's from the root cause of the problem, or maybe just to bring it together so people can understand.
Yeah. Well, the body part is an example of we're so toxic here, like I live in Santa Monica near Los Angeles, and you have pollution everywhere. You have chemtrails, the chemicals that are coming down on us that have aluminum and chemicals that go into our soil and we're eating the food. The water is toxic. We're showering in the toxic water. So people are not really doing these things. That's where the body component is. We have so many heavy metals in our body. We have mercury in our body. We have fluoride. These are chemicals that are in our water. They're putting it in, and they're putting in our toothpaste, and people think it's good, but these are poisons. So you have all this stuff. We have microplastics you cannot avoid that are in our body. It's insane amounts of stuff, and they're getting into our brain. They're getting ferment in their testicles. It's affecting their testosterone. So many things are going on. So when we say mind and body, we have to tune in. That's the best combo. Let's make sure people are clean. So I call it a mind and body detox. Let's detox all this crap from your body and what we're holding on to with the mind, so that we're in a beautiful, grateful, relaxed, connected state, and everything flows better. Sometimes all somebody needs is a good detox to free them up so things could work better. And then that's when we get into regenerative medicine and other things that could support them and give them life. And of course, the basics are diet, right? Good sleep, getting sun, all these basic stuff we can get into that not we're not all doing it, unfortunately.
So you elaborated about the body parts, how the chemicals are affecting us, and I totally agree with you. But the mind part, how about talking about how it's affect you when you're dwelling in self-doubt, shame,
Mhm.
fears, all these emotions that are not letting you even think about the body because you're consumed with toxins, which is the baggage in your mind that affecting you as well, the same way that the body part, the body toxins are affecting you. It's not less than that.
Yeah. Well, you tell me, what would you like to hear about the mind component of it? What specifically that are you thinking for yourself? Because I love that you're already amazing and supporting others. What part of it do you really want to get into? Because there's a lot of stuff you could get into.
I just realized that when I talk to people in the first 30 seconds, 1 minute, realize what kind of baggage they have, emotional, mental baggage they have in their body, like what they're carrying with them, just from simple words that they're using. And I'm seeing how it's affecting them. And I noticed that when our bodies are carrying toxins or a lot of stress, because the way we eat or the way we talk and think, it really affects how we feel emotionally. Because it's the intention
Hmm.
that creates the thoughts that create the emotions, and then we talk it out loud, and then we take the actions accordingly. So how it's affecting emotionally, because you have done a lot of work around, I know we talked about the toxins, the body, and I would love to ask you what you eat and what you do with the water. Can you explain how that ties into feeling lighter when you let it go, more balance and more peace inside yourself?
Yeah. Are you talking about the body side more or the mind side? Because
You
which side should we focus on right now? The body side is the water, the chemicals, the regenerative medicine, new stem cells. That's the body side, and the mind is obviously what's going on inside of us that's connecting, that's affecting us.
you choose what calls you.
I would say I would say that it's both. For anybody who's listening, we have to tune into both. The ultimate strategies, we want both of them, and we want to make sure they're both guided, because you just have one, but then the other one is affecting you, right? So ideally you want to do both, but of course, depending on the person and what they're dealing with, we want to focus on the main issue, and that's what we want to go to. And not everybody's willing to make those changes. I have a close friend who I love, but he doesn't really care about eating clean and organic. He never cooks. He eats out all the time. He eats seed oils. I wish him well, but every time I tell him, he doesn't like it. So not everybody's committed to some things, but maybe they're committed to like therapy, and let's do some work and let's clear out some things that are affecting you and how you're feeling about your dad. And that alone could change their whole life because they hate their dad, and that situation is affecting their career, it's affecting their money situation, it's affecting their happiness, it affects so many things. Or for a woman, the dad situation could affect trust in their relationships. So at the end of the day, it's what somebody's willing to work on and they're committed to, and we want to go to the biggest thing first. And if they have more time and more money, then we could do all kinds of stuff, including with the body, right? There's so many, it all depends on the person, right?
Yes. So, what do you do for you? I had to ask you what you do, so you can just in short guide other people to understand. For example, what you eat to feel enlightened and balanced and close the chatter in your head? Because obviously, it's different if you drink soda or you drink clean water or you eat
Yeah.
outside or eat at home. Because from what I'm hearing from you, I'm guessing you don't eat out much, and if you eat, you check where the food is coming from. Or
Yeah,
maybe
I've been kinda always anal about that since I've been young. I'm kinda into it because I like it, because it also helps me. One of the things people don't understand, they think, "Oh, well, you're gonna live longer." Well, what point of living longer is if you don't feel good? Like, people are in a hospital, what I believe is a health span, right? So you want the time that you're living that you're actually doing well and you feel great, right? So that's where the mind and body component is. So, like, what's so good about living 10 years longer in a hospital bed and you could barely walk and you have pain and you're on these medications? That's not really a life. So I think what people don't understand is that when you eat cleaner and your mind and body component, you work on yourself so that everything's more at ease in your life. You love everybody, you love yourself, you feel good about yourself. You're not trying to prove to others like who you are and look at me. And all these things that we need to work on for the person, having good feelings towards the parents, having good relationships with their spouse, with their siblings, like all these things cause suffering. But if we could have good, like feel mind and body connection, and we put in good, we don't put in poisons. And when we need to clean out, let's clean out. Yes, you're going to be lighter and you're going to feel good. And I think, what the thing is, when you're vibrating and you're feeling good, people think like, Edmond, you're like high. Are you on drugs? Like they've always told me for years. I'm like, no, I don't drink. Are you drinking? Like, no, I don't drink alcohol. Why don't you drink? It's poison. Why would I drink poison? Do you do drugs? No, I don't do drugs. So at the end of the day, like it's all a commitment and a sacrifice. So yes, I try to put clean foods in my body, but when you get to this higher levels, you could tune in and connect to what tests well for you. Same with water, same with supplements, same with foods. And every body is different and it could shift at any moment, right? So I think that's the key thing, helping people go within a trust. In the beginning, I'll support them with guidance, but then eventually, hopefully, they could start connecting and trusting what's best for their body. But they have to want it. I think you know this, Tam. You work with people. If they don't want it, you can't do it for them. They got to really want it. They have to have a strong enough reason to do it.
I liked when you said that you want to live longer, but you don't want to live longer and be sick and suffer from pain.
Yeah.
And I was listening today to someone else, and he said everyone is asking for abundance, abundance of money, abundance of prosperity. It's having more properties. And he said something very interesting, and I'm just going to repeat what he said. He said, you want to have this abundance, but not be worrisome all the time worrying about it. You want to have that and be happy while you have it, because the ultimate goal is we have all this stuff because we think it's going to make us happy. And now when you were talking, I thought about the energy that flows when you eat clean, when your mind is quiet. How powerful is it? You can run faster and everything makes you happy. Like there is clarity in your mind. You can tap into God's gifts, the creation, the abundance of contributions you have. You can share them freely. You wake up with so much light, and everyone is like, you're right. Are you on drugs? What did you take? Are you in love? You can just be in love with yourself. And the relationship, I think that you just remind me, the body mind relationship is beautiful. It takes us back to what's the relationship I have with myself. And that's the beauty that I see in you, how you can channel with God. It's because you have a relationship with yourself, and that's why you are not sabotaging yourself. You care so much for yourself that you care for the water, you care for what you eat, and it's self-care. It starts with a relationship with yourself, right?
100%. Yeah. You support others. I'm proud of you.
People don't know how amazing you are because you're very humble. And
No, that's very kind of you. You're always so sweet and encouraging and
I wish people will try and come to you and see how kind you are and how good you are, because your guidance is really life changing. Another thing that I find so unique about your work is how you always channel a guidance from God. Like you are so humble. It's really, I get really grateful to watch it. For someone who might be curious or think that you're really weird, or maybe even a little skeptical about that, what does that look like in a, I know how it looked like in a session, but how can you explain and how it's helping in everyday life when people can tap into it also in their relationship, career, or personal growth?
Good question, and thanks again. You're that you're so open as well, and that you're so complimentary. I would say, let's see what is it that the audience needs to hear, and how what the experience would be like. Well, actually, as you know, I make it so easy because it's all God's work. So I give people a complimentary 30-minute intro. So it's 15 minutes of here's a sample. This is how it works. And then here's 15 minutes of just ask me questions, what it'd be like working together if you have questions about that. and then they could make a decision. And I do that because this is very different and unique, right? It's not traditional therapy. And I've done a lot of therapy in my life because I had to work on my own stuff, cognitive behavioral, psychiatrist, traditional psychologists, gurus, coaches. I've been lucky enough. I've had a lot of different people I worked with. This is very unique. It's true. But I would say when they come and they get the real feel on it, they'll just see that I'm here to first listen to them, hear them out. And then if they're open, let's just channel what's really going on. First, let's find out what's really happening, because we could go into like highest consciousness stuff, but it may not really apply to them today. I've noticed that. Like, it may be the biggest thing they need to work on, but they're coming to me because they're dealing with something that's going on with their health or something with their significant other. Should I get a divorce? And you could work on the highest end stuff with their dad or mom right at the first thing, but that's not what they're asking at the time. But usually what you find is all of it's all connected to the root stuff. Isn't it kind of interesting? Haven't you found that too?
Always the root of the stuff. Since I was very young, I'm like, give me the root. Where is the root? And when I used to go therapy, they were like, oh, see you next time. And if I was going even deeper, it's like, do you want medication? Like, I don't need even to dig so much today, but in the beginning of my practice, I used to think I need to go the long way. But as we get clearer, it's so much easier now. But yeah, it always goes to the root of the stuff because we are triggered from the things that happened to us lifetimes ago, generations ago. That's why sometimes we are restless, and it's not ours. Sometimes it's someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So I think to add to that, what's kind of fun about what I'm doing is that you could kind of tell is that I'm just trying to like get people like results fast. That's the difference also. It's like traditional therapy, we talked about it, which is like, okay, let you talk, you talk, you talk. Well, give me results. Like, what do I do? It's like you keep going and nothing happens. And then I've noticed with traditional therapy, I was even getting worse because people don't realize if you sit there just working on the problems and what's wrong, and all you do is just work on the problem, it's what's wrong, work on the problem, what's wrong, people get worse, actually. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
You're talking about people who are actually going through that and they are feeling worse afterwards.
Yeah, meaning like a lot of therapy people don't realize is different than how I'm working because I'm not sitting there and saying you're something's wrong with you. We just need to get to the root. Let's work on the big thing that's going to affect every area. We don't need to nitpick every single thing. It's like that flat tire theory I think I shared with you once, and that's the problem with a lot of therapy these days is basically they look at the you get a flat tire. What do you really do with a flat tire? If you get a flat tire, what do you do, Tammy?
I get a flat tire, I can't drive. Obviously, I need to go and either replace it, fix it. I just cannot continue with that.
Yeah, and then what happens? Once you fix it, what happens next?
Then I'm happy and I just go.
So that's the difference between what I do. Let's get the results and let's move forward. There's nothing wrong with you, but you want to work on some of these areas, let's work on them. But you're okay. You're not broken. We don't have to sit there analyzing the flat tire for 10 years. Look at the flat tire and why is it flat? And oh, because of your mom and because this happened to you and you're a victim and all these things. And you just like stay in a circle and you get worse. That's what happened to me, by the way, and just keeps getting worse. Instead, no, let's just move on. Here, all you need, I think you might only need just 2 sessions, and let's move on. You're good. We just need to resolve that main thing you're dealing with. Now, if you want to go advanced stuff and be able to get more connected to God and get closer to God and intuition and guidance, these things are more details. Let's work on self love, self worth. Let's work on improving. Then there's more work. But some people, just 1 or 2 sessions might be all they need.
So I'm just gonna explain what you said,
Yeah, please.
make sure I understand that. So, what we're talking about is that therapy, as opposed to this holistic healing,
Hmm.
a lot of people probably are skeptical that it's working because we all was told that you go to therapy, and what happened in therapy that it starts with you just sharing and getting some perspective, and then you leave. But when the people come to works like we do, if it's the hypnotherapy or energy work of channeling God, of course, there are tools. There is also beginning, middle, and end. because you start with the story, they come with the story, then you show them the root, and then you reprogram that, go to the root, and basically like a tree, you go to the root, you reprogram it, and you come out. So they're not just dwelling in the history, the drama, and the trauma. That's why the results are different. The shift is different. But from my perspective, what I have seen a lot is that people doubt that until they get to the session, and after they go home, or even at the end, they feel this release or shift that, in my opinion, after 28 years of therapy, I don't remember experiencing it in therapy. So for me, this work is holy, is sacred. I wish I knew about that. I wish I knew about you even before. As you know, I came to see you after I had this heart pain that wasn't going away for 2 months, and I was freaking out from a very healthy human being, heart medication, cholesterol medication, iron medication. What else I was taking? God knows, thyroid medication, probably more.
Right.
My life shifted. I needed someone else to help me and guide me as a partnership to see what's going on. I remember one of the vivid memories from this experience was you telling me, let's see if God, it's for your highest good, let's bring God in. And I wasn't believing myself because I thought maybe the doctors know more. And we became in an alignment. And as I stopped the medication, and I started diving deep into the somatic pain, understanding the root cause of the somatic pain, it just got lifted. I found other finding that, thank God, I found about my heart, which was, I look at that like God's mercy on me.
Mm.
But that was really powerful, the session with you at the time, and it gave me a lot of answers. So I want the listeners to understand, to listen to your heart, listen to your energy. If something that we said here was helpful, maybe holistic healing, it's actually the answer.
Yeah. Well, thank you. First of all, I honor you for being open and vulnerable with your audience, because that really supports them to know that, like, you're just like as you're supporting others, you're also going through your stuff and you're evolving more so that you could continue to support more people just like me. We're learning every day. So thank you for sharing that. And I'm very proud of you, because the key is because you're ready and you're advanced, and that's why. And I think a lot of this also work that people don't understand is I'm really getting them closer to God.
To
Yeah.
faith
Yeah.
that we
Because
are.
if you think about it, that's really what a lot of this is. Now and the interesting thing is I purposely use God. In the past I didn't want to use that. And the work that I've done in the past, some of the work that helped me heal, they use the term higher self, by the way, or higher consciousness. But in reality, God could trigger a lot of people, but I use it for a reason, because it's very, very important that we get close and connected to God and have faith. And it's going to turn some people off, but if people are at least open, I wouldn't have been open actually if that work that healed me, be honest with you, if they kept using God, 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 I may not have gone to them. But if I saw the result, and I saw, because the reading that he gave me, then okay, I would have been open to it. But at that time, I'm not kidding you, I liked higher self. It was easy for me to understand. But the reality is that I'm not afraid to make sure everybody knows it's all God. God is great.
That's beautiful. I allow myself also to use God because the relationship is so much better and closer. A lot of time we get this information, and the information presented to us by pain, and the pain is information. The physical ailment is information. When we're feeling that we are stuck, it's information. Information that we related to a story that caused the suffering, and we forget. So when we're doing this holistic work, is basically, it's, you're right, trusting God. But before that, there is something that we forget, that when we are not in our powers, we get hurt, we get these physical ailments, we forget to trust. Then we get to go to the part that we get resentful, angry, ego, something not working, the anxiety, the restlessness. This was used to be me for the longest time because I was abandoning myself. I
Hmm.
was the one who was judging, hurting, and did not know how to love unconditionally. So when we talk about God, is this unconditional love that it's free and presented to us all the time. Unfortunately, because we are human, we tend to forget this beautiful, loving God has so much light, grace, and mercy on us.
Yes.
So I'm so grateful that you said that because I just remember that to remind people that they're just these beautiful creations of God. They're part of creation, part of God. Remember not to abandon ourselves, not to hurt ourselves, to love ourselves unconditionally. Just be open to that. Openness is the only requirements, and then God's bring you the guide. Someone like Edmund, someone like all these beautiful people that are trusting God because they know that we
Yeah.
are only the channel.
100%. And in reality, they use the term higher self, but interesting enough, I found out that some who were really close to God or Jesus, they would use the term Jesus. So in reality, we everybody has a different connection. And but I would say people do not get triggered by the term God. But just know that to have faith and trust that you can get your guidance, and you could use the term source, higher consciousness, but in reality, like it's so powerful. I'm healed because of God. The term you could have said higher self, that's fine, but it's really God. And so when we're open to that, and then God's helpers, like I like to call them guides, some people could call them angels, or I sometimes say the collective. And every religion has different views. But one of the things that I think you touched on, Tammy, I love is that it's really God loves us. There is no judgment. We're just here to learn and grow on earth. So if a religion says that you will go to hell and you are not loved and you are bad or you're sinful, well, that's not really true. Not only from channeling, because I connect with souls who passed away as well as a medium, but like just from all the spiritual work I've done, it confirms that there is only love. There's no judgment. So never think that people always think that like they fear it, fear. No, it's not about that.
So I know that you are helping a lot of people. If people just need simple steps to feel better right now, for someone listening and they feel like heavy, stressed, stuck, what's maybe one thing or whatever you want that they could do, use to feel the shift or something different about themselves?
Mm. Well, you know how I work. I close my eyes. So in this case, why not answer that question? How do I operate? And then encourage the other person also close their eyes. So what happens is when we close our eyes, because you also utilize hypnosis, it can quiet the mind and it could be easier to tap in. So let's answer that question. I'm going to close my eyes. We're going to ask God, my guides, the collective from the highest realms. And let's see what's showing up to answer this question for the audience who's going to see this and show us what we need to hear, see, feel, or know, and share. Let's see what's showing up. What does the audience need to hear about what they can do? Work on loving yourself, knowing your worth, knowing that you deserve everything you're given. Work on not needing others' approval, mom, dad, friends, spouse. That's why the inner work is important. Because remember, the inner world is a reflection of the external world. So, inner world is a reflection of external. So, we just want you to continue working on your inner world. We want to cheer you on so that you continue working on that because then everything on the external will work better. So, if you have chaos and suffering and anger inside, well, it's going to play a role in every area in your life negatively. So there's many factors. What are some of the key ones? I'm getting there's 5 things to share with the audience. Breathing is so important. Most of us don't breathe enough. Like deep breaths, I'm going to show you. You do that for like 5 minutes a day. We could tweak it, of course, when you work with me, but generally, deep breathes through the nose, hold it for 5 to 10 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, let it out. That's a general rule. And breathing is oxygen. In fact, lack of oxygen leads to illnesses. So there's oxygen therapy that actually helps people heal from illnesses and diseases. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Most people are dehydrated, and your body needs a lot of water, and clean water and other things that will hydrate you. Could be even electrolytes through the clean coconut water. There's different things, but hydration is the key. Number three is have only good feelings about your parents. That should be your goal. Doesn't matter if you've seen them, doesn't matter if they passed away, because what we work on together to get there faster is why did you choose your parents in this life, which is real, it's no BS. Um, and when you have good feelings towards your parents, that's a huge root area that will make everything better in your whole life. And then number four is love everyone, don't hold on to hurts, forgive. Remember, it's never about you because everybody is like a play. Like it's like a theater. You chose your parents, you knew what you're getting into, you knew exactly what you came here for, and we're here on earth for accelerated learning and growth. So you just do that part and just love and release and let go of all the stuff. You will be freer and lighter. And then what's the fifth one for your audience that they could do that will be easy and simple? Is get movement and get sun. Get movement and get sun. Get movement and get sun. And even if sun sometimes you think doesn't matter, but or there's not a lot of sun out, you'll still get the rays in the mornings and certain times. So, but the movement is very important, and being in nature and all that stuff would generally supports a lot of people. So yeah, that's what I got. And I like that we did this way because I know it's not typical to have someone close their eyes, but I think it's important because it supports me to tap in at a deeper level too when I do that.
I'm so glad you did that because I wanted the audience to get some sense of how you're operating, and it's very special, as they could see. And I just noticed that you were aligning, you were giving them the tools of how to recharge themselves with the earth elements. You mentioned we have the four elements, the fire, the earth, the water, and air. You just give them the four elements.
Interesting. So I love that you put it together because I was just channeling. I'm not
No,
thinking about backing it up.
and it's very interesting. It's like you were reading my mind because I have it on my screen. You just added unconditional love to the fifth one, which is beautiful. So, we are all interconnected. And
Yeah.
people can see, you can read through the Zoom. How special is that? I know you have the option that they can come and just see, which is so special. But what's special is that through the screen, we can pass this energy, this frequency.
Absolutely. And energy is energy. It doesn't matter. Phone sessions we do, record them. It doesn't really matter. It's energy, and we all can tap in. It's just a matter of getting back to our true nature to connect. We lose touch with God and our intuition and guidance, and that's why it's so important to be in a beautiful, grateful, relaxed, connected state. And one thing that's also very important that I found over the years, I connect with a lot of people and I give messages. They don't have to be clients. I just see people. I'm like, "Are you ready for your supportive message of the day?" And I've noticed sleep has become a real issue for a lot of people. People are not getting proper sleep. So these are examples of like the mind and body. Like they need to work. If you don't sleep properly, you're not repairing your body. So these are like all basic things that like you don't have to spend a lot of money and go get new stem cells and peptides and go get your blood cleaned and plasma cleaned with $10,000 machines. Those are nice. If people have the money, let's support you with all those things. But if you don't have the basics down, dude, you're sick. You're sick.
Very important. So you mentioned the breathing, you mentioned the water, the food, and for sure sleeping, because all these things are affecting our energy. So people feel they have a low energy. It's a lot of time because the too much screen time, they are dehydrated, and also, excuse me, they are not having enough sleep. And also, there are things that take out energy, like we feel depleted. It's because there's not enough water, not breathing enough, not in nature, not sleeping enough, and the food and the sun for sure. So I'm glad
Yeah.
you touched on
Yeah.
Good reminder. So, Edmond, I really want to thank you so much for being here today and for sharing your wisdom in such a grounded, loving way. I know our listeners are going to enjoy and benefit from this conversation. I want to ask you, how can they find you? I'm going to also add it to our show notes.
Thank you. Thank you.
How they can find you.
Just easy. It's edmondtorbati.com. EDMONDTORBATI.com. I made it very simple. I also made it very affordable now, more affordable than ever, as you found. And as of now, take advantage of those low rates. I just want to be able to reach more people. And you could just go and schedule your complimentary session if you've never worked with me right there. It's easy, simple. Just schedule it, and it's done. And you could just choose in person, via phone in Santa Monica, in person via phone, or do the recorded video session with your choice, and you get the AI summary notes and the transcript. However, I just want to also let you guys know that I follow God's guidance, so I'm not the right person for everybody. So hopefully it's a calling, but I'm happy to give you the time, the complimentary session. But if I'm being shown you're not the right person, I'm going to let you know, but I'll still give you the value, in the complimentary session, because I'm not for everybody. And that's why you have to ask God. And sometimes it could just be that you're not really ready for what we're doing.
That your honesty is very special. Thank you for saying it. I will
Yeah.
put all of these details in the show notes so they can find you easily. And hopefully they're going to call you and work with you because you're wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for the listeners listening to us. If it's helpful, please share it with someone else. And I see you next week. Thank you so much for being here.
I
Thank you.
want to say one last thing about Tammy. Is it okay? Is it okay? Tammy June, as I call you.
Go ahead.
So the one thing I was going to say about you is I'm grateful that we've been connecting, and you're just a beautiful soul. And I'm excited to see where this goes, not only together and supporting others, but I'm just excited to see where you continue to go and the amount of people you're going to reach. And you're in a really great place. So I'm really proud of you as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. From my heart to you, Edmond. You're very special. God bless you.
Sending lots of love to everybody and to you, Tammy. God bless everybody.
Thank you.
If you're curious and want to dive deeper, you are in the right space. I ask you to look within for all the things that you want to do, be, and have. Join me at the Baggage Begun Healing Hearts and Minds podcast with new episodes every Wednesday as we discover the path towards healing and transformation.